Hello again, everyone. So welcome back to part two of my chat with Isabelle Zimmerman. Um, I really wanted in this second part to do a deep dive on QHHT therapy, the hypnotherapy. I want to sort of understand, what the purpose of it is, how it can help people. I know you were trained by Dolores Cannon as well. Like she's like up there, the sort of hypnosis god, right? But no, it'd be really cool to do a deep dive on that and just talk about how that can help people's awakening and what sort of awareness and consciousness that can bring in and how that can benefit people in a longer term as well.
I would love to talk about hypnosis. I was not familiar with hypnosis until Goddess Isis asked me to take QHHT. It I had seen Dolores on my YouTube feeds, and uh I just wasn't interested in past lives. I really at that point I was already channeling, and I knew that we had multiple lives and whatnot, but I knew we had multiple lives and Akashic records, but I didn't realize how that impacted my life as Isabelle. It was just like, well, that was that life, and I'm really focused on this life. And so I wasn't really concerned about my story of my soul field until I was typing an email at work, and I was very, very, very engrossed in it. I was doing attachments, bullet points, like really, and Spirit's like, we want you to go on Facebook right now. And I'm like, Facebook, really? And I had to go to Dolores Cannon's Facebook page, and they were having a Facebook Live, and someone was channeling. And when I saw channeling, then I was interested,
Right.
because I didn't really care about the stories, but I liked higher perspective and I liked inner beings. So when I realized that going into the past lives was so the person could channel and that I could have a conversation with higher consciousness through the client, well, now I was interested. I was like, huh, okay.
Mm.
Now fast forward 1,000 sessions later, many entities have been counseling the clients, and now I connect with Ashlam and Hira and Artemis, and Goddess Ishtar I met, and Goddess Nyx is my recent entity that I've met through a client. Now that I understand more how important our soul field is, why, and Yeshua has been working with me, is that your past lives or your other aspects of your multidimensional self is an influence of your current life. And there are clues to who you are in your soul field. There are overarching themes, things that you explore over and over and over and over and over again. The deep resistance within you that you uncover, let's say not being accepted by your family, or you're really upset about how others think of you. I would say, I'm sure there are many lives where you explored that because it's so deep. Or somebody explores betrayal over and over and over again. Or all the exploration is the loss of childhood innocence can be explored. So when you're not in connection with your inner child, you're exploring the separation of it. If you're not connected with your divine feminine or divine masculine within you, you're exploring the separation of it. If you are not in touch with your inner power, well, then you're exploring the separation of your power. So you are not empowered. You give away your power. There are themes and how I would say your other lives create the temperature of your life here. So if you're a body of water, those other lives influence your life here. And now, this is really funny, the irony of life, but still talking to someone's inner being is very exciting for me, but I'm even more excited now to go into your other lives. It's almost like falling in love with literature. When I first started off in school, the teacher said I had to read this book. So then I wrote the essay on it and I read the book and then I forgot about it. But now I'm in college and I'm taking literature and I'm seeing the craftsmanship of the character development. I am seeing the symbolism of the place setting. It wasn't by accident. I'm seeing the form, the other characters with the main character and the thread and the connectivity. And so the appreciation of Great Gatsby, yes, I had to read it when I was in 7th grade here in the United States. But now I see the richness of that novel. I can understand why it's a great American classic. But when I read it for the first time, I enjoyed the story, but I did not see the many, many layers. So going into a soul field is so rich. Now, it's funny that you bring this up because just now I am going to work with 5 clients for 2 months. Once a week, we're going to go into your soul field, into a life. So you will have 8 lives that you will explore to see your novel, to see your masterpiece. And yes, we will be talking with your inner being and spirit guide. So we'll be talking to the author and asking creative questions like, why this place setting, what's going on with the character, you know, really talking to the author while we read the book. And how cool is that? How often do you get to talk to the director of the movie and watch the movie at the same time?
Yeah.
You know, like, and I do watch when it's available, I will watch a movie again with the director's cut, with him talking about the scenes and behind the scenes. I get great joy and pleasure out of that because there's so much insight and you can actually appreciate it on just a completely different level.
Okay, so I have a question then. So I sometimes hear what I guess one could perceive as conflicting perspectives. There's a lot of talk about the simultaneity of existence. So our oversoul extends into the lower dimensional planes, the lower densities, ad infinitum, right? To have many, many lives, like 3,000 years in the future, at the time of Christ, and God knows wherever else in the universe, right?
Yeah.
And all of that is happening now.
Yes.
Not from our linear perspective, but from a higher perspective, it's all happening now, which explains how we can link and channel. But
Yeah.
when you're talking about the different lives and how they affect one and another, I just thought of the distinction that it's not to kind of say that, oh, I'm having this problem in my current life, but I have got no control over it because it's something that's from a past life that I haven't resolved yet. It's not to take away the empowerment. It's perhaps
Right.
just to look at it from the point of view of, this is a theme that I'm still working on, and I'm drawing energetically from that other life to assist me in my ongoing exploration at a higher level that I'm exploring in this life as well, right?
Yeah. So I will tell you, James, I've had a year to really kind of understand this.
Mm-hmm.
And because because I've been conditioned so linear in thinking that it was really hard for me. Dolores Cannon had wrote a book called The Convoluted Universe or something
Oh,
like
they're
that.
awesome books. Yeah.
Yeah. And Dolores Cannon was a journalist. I would say her books are very true to the session. She documented it very well, and she really did not put her perspective or opinion in connecting any of the dots. Dolores was very much a journalist. Me, as Isabelle, I yes, these sessions are very healing, but for me, I'm excited to bring greater awareness and understanding and clarity to who you are, and for you to know you are your inner being. And then if you can then even connect with your oversoul, okay, great, right? This is how Yeshua explained it to me. And I thought this was really good because you've got to think fractals.
Mm-hmm.
So think of your soul as a body of water. I think that's even better. The act of separation is if you see the ocean and then there's a big wave, that tip of that wave is the furthest from the body of that ocean. But that wave is still part of that ocean. It's going to go back into that ocean.
Yeah.
But when it's cresting, this part right here of the wave doesn't feel connected to the body of the water. Okay. That wave is your soul field. So those lives are all bits of you that are happening in the now. Your soul source created the never-ending story.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of laugh at this, but humans learn by stories.
Yeah.
Isn't that curious? Akashic Records is a library of stories, guys. Everything is a story. When you study the tarot, there are major arcana, major characters for your story. When you study astrology, which I have a lot of astrologer friends now, they will say, oh, Neptune, oh, Taurus is luxury and material. There are themes, source, ensured us that the place setting will always be changed. We will always be in a new scene. The characters, the themes, the nuances will always change so that our character, our persona, our essence grows and develops. And what's amazing is at every level of consciousness, whether it is an ET or an amoeba, one cell creature, they have their own story. They have their own consciousness. They are always expanding. And when you really sit with this, guys, it's beautiful. It's remarkable. And so understanding your story, understanding your stories, understanding a chapter, a paragraph, a sentence, a word in your book, it's priceless.
Yeah, yeah. And that understanding that you may learn there and then is instantly known in a sense by the rest of the universe, isn't it? It goes back into your inner being, and one could say it's reflected out to everywhere else at the same time.
It's remarkable because you are in your story, you are in your consciousness. And so when I saw my life as a dragon, I still had this separation mentality that I am not my dragon. My dragon is separate from me because it was in another part of my soul field. And so I didn't have access to it. But it wasn't until Thoth working with me saying, no, 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 you are your dragon. You are the dragon. Yes, you're in a physical suit of an earthling, but your consciousness is that of a dragon. You have access to it. And I went, oh, huh. So I might not be the shape of a dragon, but that doesn't mean I can't pull in that consciousness or that thought paradigm into me now.
You just need to kind of be of a similar resonance and to believe, well, to know that, that's a part of you. In a sense, also, we're all a part of one another. So we can draw whatever we need into the given moment in terms of whatever we're exploring.
Yeah. And, when you ascend, you are taught to let go of your ego. You are taught to let go of your persona. And the reason why that is a necessary step is because you will start to embrace your multidimensional beingness. You are a multidimensional being. So those past lives, like I think it's the construct when they say, well, that past life doesn't impact my life now and la, 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 la. And it's like, well, that's because we're still in the paradigm of separation. You are that life. This life is that life. There is no separation. And so you're just swimming in your own water to understand more of your own light.
Yeah.
And it's just that. It's just a pocket of energy that is not being focused in this now moment because it's being focused in that other plane and dimension. And how cool is that we get to have the ability to swim in that dimension for a moment to understand more of our inner light and our light in this dimension. I mean, we have this ability, and I'm thinking it's, for me, I was like, oh, the purpose was so I could connect with my inner being, and that's why we do hypnosis. And now I'm like, oh my gosh, what if it's just the byproduct, but it's really for us to go in those aspects of ourselves, to accept and see and feel the beauty of ourselves so we can love ourselves even more, because it's all about self-love. Ascending is about self-love. Ascending is not causing any more fractures within our soul field. And that's what, when we reject ourselves, or we reject a part of ourselves or our emotions or whatever, we are splintering the mirror. We are causing more fractures. And, you know, whether you study shamanism or, you know, a different modality for ascension, it matters not. I will tell you, my Lemurian brothers and sisters and my Arcturian brothers and sisters and my galactic, we all understand the soul field, and we understand suppressing and not accepting all aspects of ourselves is a fracture.
Yeah. In a way, ascension is a little bit misleading, isn't it? Because everything's a game of perspectives, and in a way, we're coming into a state of remembrance of our larger multidimensional self, which kind of, for me, it takes the pressure off. Oh, I don't have to climb up more rungs of this ladder. You know, I've just got to remember that there isn't a ladder there in the first place. And I've got to change the belief systems to remember that I can just put my focus of consciousness up here for a second, pull that bit of information down to benefit me in the here and now, and so on.
Yeah, I think ascension is really unity.
Yeah.
Ascension is really oneness. Ascension is wholeness. It's seeing all the parts that makes up the whole.
Yeah.
And it is a remembrance. And I would say ascending is really descending into your soul field.
Yeah.
But ironically, you really do become lighter. We really are creating our own light bodies.
Yeah.
You know, the Merkaba is real. Our light bodies is real. Like, it's so interesting. And, you know, I mean, yes, I'm playing the role as an ascension teacher, but I'm just like, I don't understand why not all humans are talking about the ascension. Like, it is the most exciting, fascinating thing ever to me. I'm like, what? Like, I remember when I heard about the ascension, I thought it was fantasy. I thought it was not in my lifetime. I thought, you know, ascension is only for like the masters, like Yeshua and, you know, or Buddha. I didn't think it was for all of humanity. And then, you know, my team got very firm with me, and they were basically telling me to cut my shit, like cut it out. Like, the ascension is real. This is not fantasy. Like, we are in a global shift. Went, what? Wait, I got chosen to be born during a global shift? And they're like, not only were you chosen, Isabelle, but, you know, part of your joy is to awaken humanity. And I went, oh, I have like the best mission ever.
Yeah. We all got the golden ticket in a way, didn't we? We were very lucky.
Yeah. I mean, once you start understanding how many galactic beings there are, how many civilizations, how many planets, how old they are, how vast the universe is, and it's not just one universe, it's a multiverse. Once you really start to understand how the enormity of it, then you really begin to understand how, out of all the entities, we got chosen. So many entities wanted to be here. So many wanted to ascend from a 3D planet to a 5D. So many.
Yeah, and the 4D is kind of the bridging mechanism, isn't it, really?
And like the 4D, you know, I can't wait for the Soul Collective to finally be ready, because that's where the fairy realm is. That's where the Yetis are. That's where our ET friends are. That's where our ET friends can lower their vibration just enough so that we can really interact with them physically on this physical plane. So to raise consciousness, the soul collective has to be ready. And, there's just a tremendous amount of fear there. One of the things that Spirit has me doing is to be on LinkedIn and talking about we will no longer be working for a paycheck. We will be working for purpose and inspiration. And that is that paradigm, to be working for survival and for a paycheck, is already happening now. I have a HR friend, and she said, 5 million people left the workforce in 2020, another 5 million, another 22, another 5. So, people are, the idea of working for one company or for a corporation is not, it's starting to dissolve. And so you can see it, guys. In the 1950s, birth control was frowned upon. Okay. It was encouraged to procreate, and you would see families of 6 a lot. Do you see many families of 6 now? If somebody has 3 kids, what do we say? Oh, wow, you've got a lot of kids.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? In fact, 20 years ago, to come across a couple who do not have children, it was like, oh, I'm so sorry. But now more and more couples are choosing not to have children. And now we're like, oh yeah, no, no, we get it. Like, it's not a stigma anymore.
Yeah.
It's no longer like, what do you mean you don't want to have kids? It's like, oh, okay.
Yeah, no, things are definitely changing, that's for sure.
Or marriage. How many couples do you know live together and do not want to get married?
Yeah.
And now we're like, oh yeah, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Where before it's like, what do you mean you're not going to get married? You have to get married, right?
Yeah, we're slowly starting to come out of the old establishments,
Exactly. So
true to ourselves. Yeah.
True to ourselves. So imagine a society that your focus for survival, it is not your main focus. You are now above nature. You are now in the supernatural realm. If you can manifest anything with your thought form, do you really need money? Now, there will be a bridge. Spirit has told me there will be companies, but it will be for the exploration of the soul. It will be for the joy and exploration. So, for example, somebody really likes building houses, so they wield a hammer and cut wood to build a house, not because they're an immigrant and they can't speak English. It's because they love it.
Mm-hmm.
Or somebody who cooks in a kitchen, it's because they love it. Yeah. So, it's going to be really, really kind of interesting and amazing. But, most of countries' budgets go for war.
Yeah.
A lot of our money that we receive or earn, whatever thought paradigm you want, because you really receive it, it's your abundance. But that, can you imagine that energy not going to protecting a border and warring? Can you imagine what a society would do with that focus shift of creation? I mean, it's going to be something to behold.
Yeah, for sure. for sure. I mean, you know, it is a crazy world out there when you turn on your televisions and watch the news or whatever. I think what I keep hearing from so many different sources is, yes, that's all out there, and yes, that does reflect something within you, but it's to keep that focus within yourself, you know, and to really work on yourself. What do those things that you're witnessing outside bring up for you? What can you do to transform those things? And if we are, you know, moving from frame to frame to frame, from reality to reality to reality, millions of times a second, then we will move slowly but surely to the ones that do resonate better with the new versions of us that we're creating, which will be, you know, and I would hope that that would be a reflection of, you know, less war, more peace, more unity, and so on and so forth. So
Absolutely.
whatever you see out there, it's giving you something to work with, right, within yourself.
It is. And so when you ascend, just know that most of us, when we really started to awaken, we stopped watching the news. I don't know about you, James, but like that was a really common practice for a lot of people awakening. It's just they just stopped watching the news because they started to focus within and they started to notice that they create their own reality. So what was going outside of them wasn't as important because your inner world was becoming more important than your outer world. And so you started looking at your personal relationships instead of looking at the stories of the news or whatever. And then you soon come to find that whatever you need to know on the news, you will be told. I haven't watched the news in, I don't know, maybe a solid 7-8 years, and I'm still here and alive. And, you know, I kind of know what's going on with the world ish. You know, it's not a concern for me. It's, you know, my focus is really around bringing forth the golden years once again for humanity. It's bringing forth modern day Atlantis to us. It's building the schools of magic once again. It is igniting the remembrance of my sisters and brothers, for them to be connected with their inner being, to demystify their soul aspect. They are the soul, that you are who you are. You are your soul. And, you know, to demystify that. And if that means, you know, I will be on many people's channel, then I will be on many people's channel. It's sort of like the humans being afraid of sex. You know, yes, sex can be used to overpower someone or to manipulate someone or to give them pleasure. Yes, but isn't sex also magnificent and creative and pleasure and children? You know, I mean, that's it, guys. This ascension, your perspective, your journey is your choice of how you use your inner light. Do you want to focus on the discordance and fear? I'm not saying not to do your soul work. I'm just saying, where are you placing your focus, right? Go within. Your inner being will help you remember what you need to clear. Your inner being will trigger you. And then that's when you should be the detective and say, okay, why did I experience this in my event? Why did I experience this in my physical reality? What is it here for me that's in within me? Oh, what limiting belief do I have? What do I believe about myself that is not true? When you are not feeling good, you are not aligned with your inner being. Your chakras are not aligned. There are things energetically going on. Be curious. There is way more going on, and it's magical. And where what we are creating right now, our awakening, we are past the tipping point. And Spirit constantly talks to me about, like, Isabelle, we are past the tipping point. And I'm like, I cried when I got that download. I actually cried. I was just like, I couldn't believe it. We made it. As a species, I was just like, oh man, the illusion's really thick here. And they're like, no, 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 we made it. And so now it's going to be very rapid. It's going to be exponentially. Things are going to move very fast. And there is, if you cannot hold the light energetically in your field, in your body, you will be pushed. You will be pushed. At the same time, it's a push and pull system. We're being pushed from the previous dimension and pulled from the new one. And so, we're going, I always say, a lot of people don't know we're pregnant, but the baby's here. And I know it's a bumpy ride when you first start to awaken, because it really is a 180 from everything you've been taught and conditioned. And I say, get a friend, get a buddy, get a friend. Don't do this alone. You're not meant to do this alone. It's okay. You will think in the beginning, you're going a little crazy because you're like, what? But you're not crazy. And it's worth it. It's so worth it. And James, isn't it super cool to like astral travel and talk to your starseed family?
Yeah.
And feel that love?
Yeah, absolutely. It's amazing. And I think the single most incredible thing is just that in that personal, direct insight that I am more than the body. When you see that yourself, or you experience that in some way yourself, that really does change the game,
It does. And I think that's why going into your soul field and seeing your other lives or other aspects of you, I never know where we go. Sometimes it's an alien life. Sometimes it's a human life, like I have no idea, but all of it connects. It's really seeing the beauty of it.
Yeah. Yeah. And the other thing that I've kind of learned lately is, like, my egoic mind might want to do this, that, and the other and get there like super quick. And then it gets all despondent because something hasn't happened one night or whatever. But actually, it's like you've totally got to let go of that and trust that your higher aspect is the one that's really, in truth, holding the steering wheel and taking you in the right direction. And you can't see all the time if that's the right direction or not. And it might feel like it's the opposite direction, but your higher aspect knows what it's doing. And to just kind of like just let go and trust that, like the brain, the egoic mind, the brain is there as a support to your heart, as a support to your inner being, not to take the controls of the vehicle single-handedly.
Yeah, I would say there's a deepening of trust and faith. There's a deepening of understanding that your inner being or higher self or higher mind, however you want to say it, is really the one in full control. And when you come to uncover that, you are a little shocked by it, because in this reality, like I can lift this glass of water. I feel like I'm in complete control of lifting this glass of water. But I will tell you, if my inner being did not want me to drink this glass of water, it would knock it from my hand.
Yeah.
My inner being I would drop that glass of water. It is up to me to choose my perspective. But there are many things in play. So yes, my inner being has full control, but my inner being is also aware of my pre-birth intentions and my soul contracts. So I chose my mother. I chose my father. My father and mother both agreed that they would play the roles as my mother and father in this incarnation. My daughter chose me, but I also agreed to be her mother in this incarnation. Now, I am so grateful that my daughter chose me to allow me the illusion of her being her mom.
Yeah.
Because I love playing that role as her mother. And I love it when she acts like my daughter. But I know she's my equal,
Yeah.
and she's powerful and worthy. I'm just playing a game of mommy and daughter. And so it's not that you can't appreciate the illusion and the costumes and your characters. It's just knowing that you are way more.
Yeah.
You are way more. And where do you want to place your focus of consciousness?
Yeah, that's it. Is creating the space to be able to discern and choose, not react and place it because of some perceived external event, right? It's making that choice and being conscious enough in every moment to make the choice that you prefer.
Yeah. And so, a lot of people, we talked about meditation, and I think we did a really good job on understanding why hypnosis and going into your soul field and connecting with your inner being is so impactful. And, James went under with me, and we did some inner child work. And also, I said, James, let's just get you channeling, because I knew you were right there. You just needed just a little hand holding. I'm like, it's right there. You're right there. And that's all it is. It's just a permission slip.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
But sometimes you need to, have a facilitator there to just help you. You don't think you can cook yet. So sometimes it's nice to have someone next to you and say, yeah, no, the pasta's ready. Like, you tasted it and you knew the pasta was ready, but it's nice. Yeah, the pasta's ready. Or let's add a little more salt. You know how to cook.
I like that analogy.
Yeah, that's all it is. It's just having someone cooking with you. You already know how to do it, but it's nice. And then when you practice together, it's just, I am energetically holding space. So if the ego mind comes in, I'm just that facilitator that turns down the heat and stirs your sauce so it doesn't burn.
Right. Yeah.
Until you can stir your own sauce. And then I'm like, okay. Yeah, that's all it is. So I get to cook in the kitchen.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I it's been an amazing talk, really, really interesting. And, thank you for everything that you've been sharing with us today. Do you want to give a quick sort of summary of the kind of services that you offer to people?
Yes. So please reach out to me if you want a hypnosis session. I do like to, I am starting this new program for 8 weeks, really going into your soul field. You can reschedule twice, but I would like for it to be kind of consistent for once a week. Really, really going in. I think that would be very transformative. I also, I do not have any classes right now. I have wrapped up all my classes, but definitely you can look on my website for future classes. And I just want to let you know, this is my journal. I know my computer is like blurred, but let's see if you can do it.
Unlock magic.
Unlock magic. Wait, no, wait. My face.
Yep, there you go. It was there. There it is.
Ta-da! Unlock magic. So it's a journal. It was channeled. James was actually part of this, which is super exciting. And it has a lot of teaching moments, but in the teaching moments, it's one teaching moment per page, and the font's kind of big, so you can digest it. I am inspired actually to do some videos behind the scenes on these teaching moments. There are some journaling required and some magic spells to do. And the purpose of this journal is to really have something fun and playful for the human in their awakening and start unlocking and building that connection with their inner being.
Oh, that's brilliant. So I'll put links to everything and all your services, website and social media in the description.
Yes.
Thank you again
Yes.
so much, Isabelle. It's been brilliant fun. Great fun.
Yes. Thank you. Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.